You're listening to the Mindful Mama podcast, episode number 261. Today, we're talking about how to be less reactive with our kids. Welcome to the Mindful Mama podcast, now with over 1 million downloads. Here, it's about becoming a less irritable, more joyful parent. At Mindful Mama, we know that you cannot give what you do not have. And when you've calm and peace within, then you can give it to your children. I'm your host, Hunter Clarke-FIELDS, Mindful Mama Mentor. I help smart, thoughtful parents stay calm so they can have strong, connected relationships with their children. I've been practicing mindfulness for over 20 years. I'm the creator of Mindful Parenting, and I'm the author of Raising Good Humans, a mindful guide to breaking the cycle of reactive parenting and raising kind, confident kids. Welcome back to the Mindful Mama podcast, dear listener. I am so glad to be connecting with you. Welcome if you are a new listener. And if you are listening in real time in January 2021, I just want to say this is an incredibly hard time. I talked to some people and they're so excited because people are getting their vaccine, family members are getting their vaccine, and other people have loved ones who are in the ICU and dying. So there's so much happening. But I believe, so I just want to acknowledge that you might have a lot happening for you. And so I hear you, I see you. This is a hard time. And I hope that we have a lot to be hopeful for, right? And so when these times are crazy, I like to focus on the places I do have a sphere of influence. And I definitely know it's with my family. And I know that when I'm in autopilot mode or I'm reactive, that's kind of when I'm at my worst at parenting. I don't know about you. Is that true? We miss our chances to connect. So today is a very special solo episode about how to become less reactive. You're going to learn about how mindfulness works to lower reactivity and how to bring it right into your life. And before we dive in, I just want to say that we had an amazing Fresh Start Mindful Parenting live series of 4 lessons that I went Facebook Live on. And so if you want to hear about these offerings that we may not have a chance to talk about on the podcast, make sure you are signed up for my mailing list at mindfulmamamentor.com. And then we'll be able to connect even more. It'll be even better. All right, so let's dive right into this episode. Okay, so I want to start off this episode on how to be less reactive by inviting you to just imagine something, okay? So if you're able to, if you're not driving or walking, close your eyes and take a deep breath. And I want you to just imagine that it's 8 a.m. You have a full day ahead of you, and your children have to be at school at 8:15. And the principal has already sent a warning that your child has been late too often. And your child's taking a lot of time changing clothes again, and they haven't brushed their teeth yet. And you say, honey, hurry up or we'll be late. You call out several times, but your child does not come down. You finally walk into their room to see what's going on, and your child throws himself on the floor, screaming, I'm not going to school. Ugh, right? Like, what do you think as you read this scenario? What do you feel in your body? For me, I can feel my pulse rising. It's like my blood is starting to heat up. My jaw feels tight. Can feel like underneath this like reactivity, right? This feeling of helplessness, anxiety, and frustration, all that stuff comes up. I get impatient, kind of ranting thoughts that in my head, and that inner voice that's like, why is she doing this today? What's going on? All that stuff. And you know, it's incredibly difficult situation. And here's the important part. All these reactions just happen by themselves, where we aren't choosing to turn on these frustrated thoughts, the feelings, the helpless feelings, or the psychological and physiological stress reaction. We're not choosing any of that, right? We are reacting on those moments just on automatic pilot. And our stress is running the show. It's dictating our reaction. And that's when the words just fly out and our autopilot script is like on replay. And it's basically the same language that our own parents may have used in those situations. So These are the moments we're kind of like at our worst in our parenting when we're stressed and reactive. And so that is what we are talking about today, how to be less reactive. And I'm going to talk to you about the long term goal tools that we need to be less reactive, how to get off autopilot. We're going to talk about how mindfulness lowers reactivity. We're going to talk about some of the changes in the brain and exactly how to do it today. And then we're going to talk about how to bring this into our daily life more and more. So hang in there all the way to the end because we're also going to talk about how to create intentions in our morning and what I do, some of the practices I do, and we're going to talk about some things that can make us happier even along with all this lowering of reactivity. So I have a lot to share with you today. But first, let's take a deep breath in and let out a big sigh. Another deep breath in. Big sigh. Letting go of that stressful story I told you. I'm sorry. Yeah. So we can use our body, and that's a tool that I use a lot. And we talk about also in mindful parenting a lot is the sigh breath. It's a really great tool to lower our stress response in the moment. So there you go. There's your first one. So today we're going to talk about how mindfulness helps to lower our reactivity, and we're going to be talking about the long-term game, right? We're going to be talking about how to build that muscle of lowered reactivity over time and for how to stop yelling and like head off those difficulties right in the moment. You can go to Mindful Mama Mentor for more detailed information about how to stop yelling in the moment. But this episode is about you getting off that autopilot script and lowering your reactivity in the long term. And so you've heard me talk about it before. If you've listened to the podcast, mindfulness meditation is like this superpower that we need. It's honestly, it's like this stealth tool that anybody can use that has no negative side effects at all, that can make all the difference in calming down your reactivity. What is mindfulness? My favorite definition comes from John Kabat-Zinn. He's a scientist, author, and meditation teacher who has been really influential in bringing mindfulness into the mainstream of medicine and Western society. And he says that mindfulness is the awareness that arises through paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally. So that means we're intentionally putting our attention in something in the present moment. Oftentimes it's the breath, but it can be other things, with an attitude of kindness and curiosity. That's how I like to say that non-judgmentally part, with curiosity. And meditation is a way to practice mindfulness. And meditation can mean many, many different things to many different people. There are many different kinds of meditation. But for our purposes here, I'll define it as the practice of training the mind to become less reactive and more present. So, mindfulness meditation is just intentionally training our attention to be in the present moment, non-reactive. So we hang out with, and stuff comes up, life happens, feelings, sensations, thoughts happen. We practice to stay non-reactive with this sense of non-judgmental curiosity. So basically, mindfulness is kind of the quality that we're aiming for. And mindfulness meditation is the tool for building that quality in ourselves. Does that make sense? Got it? All right. So, let's go back to that moment with our kids. And the honest truth is that we spend most of our time with our children on automatic pilot mode. Our minds are fixed on accomplishing goals, solving problems. We're planning dinner. We're strategizing the day ahead or the next day. And I am a lot too. I'm not a fully enlightened brain yet, right? Like, this is just part of the human brain. I'm not saying this to be blameful, but to just shine a light on what's true for us. So in everyday moments with our kids, me too, we're distracted by thoughts of the future, like planning dinner when your child is telling you about their day. And when we're in that automatic doing, achieving, planning mode, our minds are elsewhere and we're actually not really in the present moment with our child. Our body and mind are not together. We're not in that present moment with our child. And if we're not fully present with our children, we're missing the chance to attune with their cues about what's happening for them under the surface. We might miss a signal that our child needs a hug or help instead of more direction in this moment. They come to us, there's something going on, and oftentimes we're just going and doing, so we're not really kind of seeing that what's really happening for them. Stay tuned for more Mindful Mama podcast right after this break. So, as you know, I am all about calming down. But the other day, I was so frustrated with a thing that was happening in my house. And then I had some snippy daughters, and I was just in a state. And you know that state where you kind of stomp around the house and you're just like heightened, frustrated, stressed. And so I was so happy to use the new Calm relaxation system. It's this one of a kind, amazing system that uses audio therapy. Binaural beats is amazing. So basically, what happened is I went in my room, I put on the headphones, I used all the new calm items, and then when I was done listening to this amazing track, it was like this amazing transformation. I felt light, I felt completely calm, I felt energized, I felt amazing. And all I did was listen to this thing, and it just changed my state entirely. Like, it was like a powerful switch. It was pretty amazing. New Calm's all natural, reliable system enhances your sleep too by flipping the switch from tired to really powerfully relaxed, as I can attest to. New Calm primes your body and mind so that you can receive the deep and restorative sleep that you need. We know that sleep is so, so important for our body, mind, and spirit. So, New Calm is amazing for this. It is the only system of its kind, clinically proven in over 1 million sessions to improve your sleep, reduce your stress, and boost your recovery without drugs and side effects. The New Calm system uses cutting edge neuroscience and consists of 3 non invasive and non pharmaceutical items, all of which are included in your monthly subscription that costs less than a daily cup of coffee. The whole process is super easy to use and to work into your daily routine to achieve better sleep, reduction in stress, and boost in recovery. Do what I did. Own the day with New Calm and make 2021 the year you improve your sleep. We have a special link set up specifically for our listeners. Go to hunternewcalm.com and get 50% off your 30-day subscription of New Calm and their money-back guarantee. That's HunterNucalm.com. HunterNucalm.com. Without mindfulness practice in our lives, we're often making an unskillful choice in that moment, or we're even becoming completely overrun by that stress response, that powerful stress response. And then instead of offering your child the thoughtful, empathetic response that actually might be beneficial in that moment, you're triggered and reactive. For me, this was always my problem and difficulty with what parenting coaches had to teach when I was really struggling, because a lot of the advice is often just say this or just respond this way. And the truth is that we literally can't access those parts of the brain, and offer our child those kind of responses when we're triggered and reactive. So this is really, really the foundational work that has to come first so that we can have those thoughtful responses. As we start to practice mindfulness, bringing our attention into the present moment with kindness and curiosity, then we can bring that awareness, kindness, and curiosity to our children and we bypass a whole host of problems that arise with distraction. So, mindfulness really helps us to lower our reactivity. And there's a whole bunch of research about this. The research shows that mindfulness helps us with impulse control, helps to lower our anxiety, lower our depression, increases awareness, increases clear thinking. And what they've done, I've talked about the brain scans before, which are so fascinating. It really helps us to, we have that stress response, and the amygdala are these two little almond-shaped clusters in the base of your brainstem. They're kind of like the alarm bells of the brain that make us reactive. That stress response is preparing us to respond to a threat. So our heart rate increases, our your muscles get tight, all of those things, and we literally can't access our full brain, including prefrontal cortex, higher order thinking skills when that stress response is happening, when the amygdala are clanging that alarm bell. And it's amazing that the research shows, the MRI scans show that an 8-week practice of mindfulness actually shrinks the gray matter in the amygdala into that in that stress response center of the brain, and it actually grows more dense, the gray matter in the prefrontal cortex. And so that is the area that's, the brain is a very complex and interconnected thing, but the prefrontal cortex is that area associated with like our higher order thinking, problem solving, empathy, verbal ability, all of that stuff that we need to be able to respond with kindness and curiosity in that beneficial response. So, like I said, the research shows that mindfulness helps us with impulse control. And I really think that what it's really doing is that we're practicing being non reactive. As we sit in meditation, which we're going to talk about more, you sit and your stuff comes up, your anxieties come up, your thoughts come up, and you practice to just not do, to stay still as all of these things arise. And so it's really building a muscle of non-reactivity. And this is really, really key. You may ask, like, what is this doing? But it really is a key. It gives us this space as we practice this non-reactive muscle. It gives us this space to then choose. There's that quote from Viktor Frankl, who is the Holocaust survivor, who wrote Man's Search for Meaning. He said that between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and freedom. And that is really true. And that is what mindfulness gives us. And it literally changes the brain and all of those things. It's pretty amazing. And there's no negative side effects, right? So, how do we practice? How do you do it? Well, what it is simply is like, and you can practice right now. You deliberately focus your attention on what is happening in the here and now. You're aiming to be more attentive to the present moment rather than distracted. You're not trying to stop thoughts or clear your mind, none of that. You're just practicing to notice what's going on moment to moment within you and around you with kindness and curiosity. So let's think about how do we do that, right? So I'll give you kind of a 4-step process. Okay. So the first step, I just want you to set your intention to be present, right? Remember that mindfulness is the awareness that rises through paying attention on purpose, right? On purpose in the present moment. So the first step then is to choose to practice to be present. So you could be nursing a baby, right? And you could be nursing a baby and just kind of hanging out and, maybe looking at the phone, your mind wandering, whatever. You may sometimes be present and sometimes be distracted, but there's no choice, right? There's no intention set to be present. That's a real difference between like setting a timer for 5 minutes and saying, I'm going to use this 5 minutes to intentionally practice mindfulness to be present and non-judgmentally, right? So it's that intention really matters. So you have to choose to practice to be present. If you're home with your child, you can decide to intentionally practice presence. So you put the phone on silent. You set aside your to-do list. You give yourself over to nothing else to do except practicing being present. And I really do think it's helpful to set a timer to give yourself 10 minutes, decide, or 5 minutes or whatever, 3 minutes, decide that for those minutes you practice, you're going to give your full attention to what is happening in this moment with yourself and your child. And so we can talk about how to place your attention, but the idea with this first step is to simply to decide, to set your intention to be present. Okay, so then you set your intention, you want to be present, you're either there with your child or you're practicing to build that muscle on your own in a non-distracting setting. Your next step is then to really focus your attention. Okay, so if you are deciding to be present with your child, then you're essentially doing a paying attention to my child meditation, which is super cool, right? So then your child is the anchor for your attention. So essentially, you'll attempt to place your attention on your child with an attitude of kindness and curiosity. And this curiosity and kindness piece is really, really important. Allow yourself to see your child as if you were an alien beamed down into the space. Be curious about their body, their learning, their actions. Wonder what their needs are that are driving their choices. Notice the fuzz on their earlobe. Notice the shape of their hands. Be curious about what they are curious about. If you're focusing your attention and practicing maybe first thing in the morning before your child wakes up, you may set a timer for 5 minutes. You may use a guided meditation. I've got some on my resources page at mindfulmamamentor.com, 5-minute guided meditation. You may choose the sensation of feeling your breath or the sensation of sitting in your chair to notice. So we can practice that right now. So if you're able to, close your eyes for a moment and feel right below your nostrils and feel the air come in your nostrils. Feel what it feels like. And then feel the air come out. And again, feel the air come in. And feel the air come out. And then feel your breath in your belly and your chest and just be curious. What does it feel like as you inhale and as you exhale? What does it feel like? Like you're an alien beamed down into your body. What does it feel like? For some of us, focusing on the breath is not that supportive to our calm or peace. So maybe you can feel your hands. Maybe you can feel what your hands are. You feel the sense of touch. You might feel warmth or coolness. You might feel some tingling or pulsing or throbbing, as if you were an alien beamed down into your body. What do your hands feel like, or even your bottom on the seat if you're sitting? So these are anchors in the present moment. And so it could be your child we talked about. It could be your breath. It could be your hands. And you're bringing curiosity to this moment. And that is the step of step 2, focusing your attention. So you take a moment to focus your attention. All right, you with me? Good? Let's move to step 3. And step 3 is to notice your distraction. So if you're human, a normal human being, as soon as you attempt to place your attention 100% fully on a single anchor, right? Your child, your breath, you're going to find out that you will fail. Your mind will wander into thoughts of the future, thoughts of the past, critical thoughts. Look, she's dragged that chair to the mud when I told her not to, blah, 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 judgments, all this stuff and more. That's going to happen whether your anchor of attention is your child or if you're totally by yourself, that you're going to put your attention on your anchor and then your mind will wander. And that's not a problem. Okay. This is not a problem. It's just normal. The mind thinks the ears hear, and we're not going to stop that. But what we're doing is instead putting your attention back on the anchor. Okay. So the thoughts are not a problem. They are, in fact, an opportunity, actually. They are the opportunity to notice that you're distracted, and with kindness and without judging yourself, you're returning your attention back to the anchor in the present moment. And if you were like a weightlifter, maybe you are. I do some body pumps. So this is when you're pulling that barbell up again. Right? And just like lifting a weight, it's not lifting weights. It's not like a one and done thing, and that's why we call it a practice. And so your practice is just to notice your distraction with kindness and curiosity, bring your attention back to the present moment. No need for self-judgment or recrimination. We all, every single one of us, fail at 100% full concentration. Part of the practice is to notice this and to practice self kindness. So we all fail, but we have the capacity to strengthen our ability to be present. And that's why we repeat step two, focus your attention. And you continue until your timer goes off. Right? So just be diligent, be compassionate with yourself. All right. So we could end there, 3 steps, but I want to add a final step. And the final step is step 4, to honor yourself for practicing. And as you have now noticed, probably, it's hard. It's really, really hard to be fully present. You've probably noticed that your mind and your attention are not fully under your control. That's great. High five. That's a wonderful realization, which can give you lots of compassion for how others struggle too. It can lessen your tendency to judge. So honor yourself for practicing. Pat yourself on the back. Honor yourself for choosing to practice to be presence instead of distraction. Know that what you practice grows stronger so that the session has strengthened your ability to be present in every area of your life. So that was step 1, set the intention to be present. Remember, on purpose. Step 2, focus your attention. Step 3, notice your distraction and just return back your attention. And step 4, honor yourself for practicing. So you can make this a 5 or 10-minute daily practice, and it will strengthen your relationship with your child. It will increase your well being, lower anxiety, depression. And what's cool about a mindfulness practice is that we can bring it into our daily life. Like, just like we said, we can bring it doing it with our child, but we can also do it with the dishes, etc. And there's some ways to practice, bringing it into your daily life. So I want to share a few ways that I really love to bring it into your daily life. I think it's so important to kind of think about like our morning time, and this is where I want to share a little of my morning routine. How often have you kind of just rushed out the door and into your day without even thinking about how you would like things to go? And then before you know it, something has like rubbed you the wrong way and you're reactive and you're frustrated or impatient, whatever. You didn't intend that, but that's what happens. And we can kind of get in patterns like that. But if we can start the day with an intention, if we can pause, it can make all the difference in the world. And pausing to practice mindfulness for just a few minutes at a few different times of the day can really help your days be better and more in line of like how you really want them to be. So I just have 3 daily practices for bringing more mindfulness into your daily life. So the first is the mindful wake up to start with purpose. And that intention. It's really that underlying motivation for everything we think, we say, we do, right? We want to give that unconscious brain, which is in charge of a lot of our decision making, a practice to align your conscious thinking with that like primal emotional drive and lower centers, right? So we want to have some real intention to guide all of our body, mind, and spirit, right? So setting an intention and keeping those intentions in mind can really strengthen the connection between all of the brain, right? And this can really change your day by making it more likely that your words, your actions, and your responses, especially during the difficult moments, will be more mindful and compassionate. And this is, of course, best done first thing in the morning before checking phones, before checking email. Just, when you wake up, you can sit on your bed or in a relaxed posture, you know, close your eyes, connect to the sensations of your body, take a deep breath, take a few deep breaths, feel your breath coming in and out, and just then ask yourself, what is my intention for today? And you can ask yourself some of these questions like, how do I want to show up to have today, right? What qualities do I want to strengthen today? You can say them out loud or internally. May I be peaceful today? May I be grounded today? May I live with more ease today? What do I need to take better care of myself? How can I feel more connected and fulfilled, right? So ask yourself some of those questions. You can write them down if you like. And then set that intention for the day. Like, so today I will be kind to myself. I will be patient with my kids. I'm going to stay grounded, have fun, and eat well. Anything else that's important, anything that feels important to you. And then throughout the day, just check in with yourself. Pause, take a breath, and revisit your intention. And notice as you become more conscious of your intentions each day, you're going to see that the quality of your communications, your relationships, and your moods really shift. So you can do this mindful wake up. The second practice I want to offer you is mindful eating. It's really, really beautiful. The normal way we eat, right? We just like bite, chew, swallow. We're not even aware of it, but it actually can be really, really pleasurable. And eating mindfully can turn eating into a really rich experience. It satisfies, our nutrition and all of our body, and it's very nourishing. So just try this. You can breathe before eating, take a deep breath, pause, listen to your body, right? Check how hungry you are, what physical sensations tell you that you're hungry, be curious about them, and then eat according to your hunger, right? Like just notice, you know, slow down your eating, be notice how it feels to really be there in the present moment with your food. Try to maybe take a break and breathe deeply, savoring what you're eating. And then if you don't love it, don't eat it. Take your first 3 bites mindfully, experience the taste, the flavors, the textures, and then make a mindful choice about what to eat based on what you really are enjoying. And then finally, I want to just offer you this final practice, which is the mindful pause. So, just taking this moment to slow down and shifting to slow the brain down and to shift into being more intentional and just gaining control of our kind of fast moving brain, right? Some ways to do that are to kind of like make trip over what you want to do. If you've set the intention to do some yoga or to meditate, put your yoga mat or your meditation cushion or chair right in the middle of your floor so you can't miss it as you walk by. And then, also you want to refresh your triggers regularly, right? So say you decide to use some sticky notes to remind yourself of your new intention. That might work for about a week, but then you have to write new notes to yourself. So add variety, make them funny, change it up. You have to refresh them regularly. And then just start to, shift new patterns to if the phone rings, just take a big deep breath. You know, when you sit down to the computer, take a deep breath. When you sit on the floor with your child, put your phone somewhere else, right? These are all like great habits to kind of cultivate, which we could talk a lot more about, but this has been a long podcast. So we have talked about this lowering our reactivity, how mindfulness really, really helps us with impulse control over time. Stay tuned for more Mindful Mama podcasts right after this break. Okay, I have had enough comfort eating and I've been craving some salads and some food that really tastes good and feels good and is really highly nutritional. And that's why I'm so excited that Sakara is the sponsor of this week's podcast. Sakara makes amazing, super clean, highly nutritious food. If you're looking for a clean prenatal supplement, they make an amazing one with these super high standards for purity and potency. Sakara is a nutrition company that focuses on overall wellness, starting with what you put in your body. Their menu of organic, chef-curated meals create a foundation of nutrition, and they have programs for any stage of life to restore digestive harmony and regulate cravings. Along with their meal, they also have powerful supplements like their prenatal, which is a daily supplement pack containing algae, omega, superfood multi, super greens, probiotic, choline, and macro minerals designed to support your entire pregnancy journey. They provide all the clean essentials your body needs, from folate to calcium and many more. And they're plant based, vegan friendly, and bioavailable. Sakara has received rave reviews from Vogue, Goop, and the New York Times, and even more. You can support your health with Sakara's meal delivery and prenatal vitamins and get the nutrients you and your baby, should you have one in there, need. And right now, Sakara is offering our listeners 20% off their first order of prenatal when they go to sakara.com/hunter or enter the code HUNTER at the checkout. That's Sakara, SAKARA.com/hunter to get 20% off your first order. And then how do we do it? How we set the intention to be present, how we step 2, focus our attention, step 3, notice your distraction and come back. And then step 4, honor yourself for practicing. And we talked about, how to bring it into your daily life with the mindful wake up, with mindful eating, and then the mindful pause. So all of this is incredible to help us become more present and less reactive. But also, I just want to end with this, how becoming more present will actually make you happier. There's this Harvard researcher, Matt Killingsworth. He created an app, an attempt to answer the question, like, kind of what makes us happy, once and for all. And the results have been really eye-opening. According to his data, we're happiest when we're mindful in the moment, and we're least happy when our mind is wandering. So this study took a huge sampling of 15,000 individuals. It was diverse, it included people across the socioeconomic stratosphere, varying levels of education, age, occupation, income, and across 80 countries. And the premise was really simple. Throughout the day, at random times, participants were contacted through their phones and asked to rate their current happiness level, what activity they were involved in when the call came, and whether or not their mind was wandering from the activity. As it turned out, what made people happy had far less to do with what they were doing and significantly more to do with whether their attention was fully present in the moment. And so, mindfulness meditation is the best way to strengthen your presence muscle and to lower your reactivity. And it will make you happier, right? Just to be more present, bring that into your daily life. And then beyond all that, far more than toys or lessons or whatever, your child needs you, the authentic you underneath all of the stress and reactivity, with less tension, with more presence and ease. And your ability to be fully present more and more will naturally start to soothe your child, helping them feel seen, heard, and accepted. And my teacher, the Zen master, Thich Nhat Hanh, who author of so many incredible books about mindfulness, he says this so beautifully, and it's a quote that really drives me and lives with me. And he says that when you love someone, the best thing you can offer is your presence. How can you love if you are not there? And I think that how can you love if you are not there, right? That deserves a pause. Being less reactive will make us better parents for sure. So that is reason enough to practice mindfulness. But to be there, right? To really be there. Like, we just get this one amazing life. I mean, I don't know, maybe you believe something else, but I believe that we just get this one amazing life. We're here, we're conscious. It's a crazy miracle that we're alive and conscious. And it's not, going to last forever. Our children aren't going to last forever. We're all changing and growing. They're not going to be children for long. They may not live with us, right? My daughter's 13 now. I'm like, oh, wow, she could be gone from my house. Like, it's crazy. So we want to be there when they're here. I mean, kids are super annoying and frustrating. They drive you crazy and all that stuff. But we want to be there, right? We want to be there for those moments that are the magic of those quiet, wonderful magic moments. So that's the reason to practice. So go to mindfulmamamentor.com on the resources page to get a guided meditation, get started with your practice. Tag me and let me know when you're practicing and what your takeaway is from this episode. I hope you've appreciated this episode. I hope it's helped you in some way. This practice has been the single most impactful, life-changing thing in my life. It has changed everything in my life. And I'm so, so grateful from my heart to be able to be present and to not inflict the damage that I used to inflict on my children through the work that we do in mindful parenting, right? All of these things, it's really, really powerful, can make a huge, huge difference. So anyway, if this episode has helped you, if it is, just tag me, let me know. I'm at Mindful Mama Mentor on Instagram, and you can find me on Facebook. And I am so grateful for you. Thank you so much for listening all the way here to the end. I really appreciate your ears and your presence, and I'm so glad we get to connect each week in this way. And I honor you for listening and for filling yourself up. If you find it helpful, share it with friends. And I wish you a week full of peace and joy and moments of true presence. Thank you so much for listening. Namaste.
I'd say definitely do it. It's really helpful. It will change your relationship with your kids for the better. It will help you communicate better. And just, I'd say communicate better as a person, as a wife, as a spouse. It's been really a positive influence in our lives. So definitely do it.
I'd say definitely do it. It's so worth it. The money really is inconsequential when you get so much benefit from being a better parent to your children and feeling like you're connecting more with them and not feeling like you're yelling all the time or you're like, why isn't things working? I would say definitely do it. It's so, so worth it. It'll change you.
No matter what age someone's child is, it's a great opportunity for personal growth and it's a great investment in someone's family. I'm very thankful I had this.
You can continue in your old habits that aren't working, or you can learn some new tools and gain some perspective to shift everything in your parenting.
Are you frustrated by parenting? Do you listen to the experts and try all the tips and strategies, but you're just not seeing the results that you want? Or are you lost as to where to start? Does it all seem so overwhelming with too much to learn? Are you yearning for a community of people who get it, who also don't want to threaten and punish to create cooperation? Hi, I'm Hunter Clarke-FIELDS, and if you answered yes to any of these questions, I want you to seriously consider the Mindful Parenting membership. You'll be joining hundreds of members who have discovered the path of mindful parenting and now have confidence and clarity in their parenting. This isn't just another parenting class. This is an opportunity to really discover your unique, lasting relationship, not only with your children, but with yourself. It will translate into lasting, connected relationships, not only with your children, but your partner too. Let me change your life. Go to mindfulparentingcourse.com to add your name to the waitlist, so you will be the first to be notified when I open the membership for enrollment. I look forward to seeing you on the inside. mindfulparentingcourse.com.